What's going on, everybody? Tarek Fattal here. Another episode of Fattal Factor. Man, those Seahawks. I blame it on Bo Nix. I blame it on Bo Nix. Not necessarily the Seahawks won. I think, of course, I was rooting for Sam Darnold, right? I think we're all rooting for the SoCal guy. But the fact that the game just wasn't very fun, maybe, there could have been another opponent there that could have been a little bit better. But nevertheless, the Seahawks are the Super Bowl champs. Sam Darnold is a Super Bowl champion after such a great story, man. I love talking about it the last few weeks about going to the Jets and not having a great career there and kind of, all right, man, go somewhere else, and he bounces around. And I think despite all the, being shunned away, he gets to the Minnesota Vikings where they are really, really good. And yet something about, he still wasn't good enough, right? And that still didn't deter him. And he just wasn't deterred by failure. Man, he ends up in Seattle with Mike McDonald. And it is like storybook, Disneyland story stuff. And I can't wait. I hope he keeps going because it was such a fun story to watch and unfold. And that is why sports is the best. It is unscripted drama. I would imagine, I always think to myself, there are these sports stories out there where if they were on the big screen, if they were in Hollywood, you would halfway through go, oh, this would never happen, right? You'd be like, oh, come on, I believed it up until that point. And it's like, that's so funny. It happened in real life, you know what I mean? And so if it was a movie, you might not believe it. And here it is, Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl. And I bring up Sam Darnold, why? Because we have San Clemente high school football coach Jaime Ortiz on the show tonight, less than 24 hours from watching his high school quarterback at San Clemente go on and win the Super Bowl. We're going to hear some great stories tonight. I know that there are going to be some great social media clips from this show. I just know it for a fact because there are great stories Coach Ortiz is going to share with us. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Coach Ortiz knew Sam when he was like a Pop Warner level player. I mean, that small, that little, and kind of coming up through the ranks. As we all know, San Clemente, one town, one team, and I know Coach Ortiz is going to tell us that his football team embodies that. Very, very good football team year in, year out. So we'll talk to Coach Ortiz here in a moment. But without further ado, I got to bring on my co-host, of course, and that doesn't come without an intro.
All right, bro, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
Ladies and gentlemen, Aram Talijian.
Here I am, leather jacket, sunglasses, and all, everybody. Glad to be here.
W's in the chat for Aram. Can we get a couple W's in the chat? Aram, just before we bring on Coach Ortiz, your kind of initial thoughts on the Super Bowl, if you may.
Profitable, which is always where I start, which is good. I kind of think that a lot of us who bet our knee-jerk when this matchup got announced was we're going to go all in on Seattle because there's no way New England can handle these guys. The real Super Bowl was the Rams versus the Rams versus the Seahawks. But then over the course of that second week, doubt starts to creep in of a football bettor's mind, and you start thinking, well, maybe the luck will continue for the Patriots, and you can see like a path to victory where they hang in and whatnot. And I talked myself basically out of a big bet on Seattle and only made a little bet, so I'm not too happy about that. As far as the game, not overly exciting, as everybody knows. As far as the halftime show, I was very vocal about this on social media.
I loved your line. Repeat your line that you tweeted about it.
Which one? The one about the Puerto Ricans and what?
Being open-minded. That was, I thought, your best line.
Yeah, I'm open-minded.
Okay, something a little different culture, different language.
Right.
All right, why does it's 20 minutes of my life. If anything, I always get, look, man, almost every Super Bowl performance, and sorry to interrupt you, but I'm always impressed by the production. It doesn't matter if you like the artist, don't. There's so many moving parts for 20 straight minutes. I'm always impressed with the production. Always. And then, the music, neither here nor there, but continue.
The beats were good. Okay. Obviously the production level, the set, everything, that was good. The dancers were good.
course.
I didn't understand very much of it.
No.
I don't speak fluent Spanish. I understood novia, okay, because if you're dating in SoCal, you understand what novia means. So that's about it. But nonetheless, like I said, I wasn't even familiar really with Bad Bunny until last summer when I briefly dated, emphasis on briefly dated, the most beautiful girl that I've ever dated in my life. Totally blew that sky high, and she was a huge Bad Bunny fan, goes to like concerts of his all around the world. God bless her. And so, yeah, that was kind of my first intro to the guy. And then obviously what happened yesterday. I would just say that it's disappointing sometimes that people already have their minds made up going into something, whether they would like it or not. But I understand. And unfortunately, too much Bad Bunny discussion becomes political, which we don't want to do that. But it's, so many things in this world are now political. So, overall, I worked though, Tarek. So, I was working for most of the game. And so it was never going to be the Super Bowl party, great, time type stuff for me anyway. So, yeah. But disappointed though, dude, because football season is now officially in the off season. There's no football games to bet until August. So, whatever.
I stayed home with the family. My wife made chicken nachos, like a whole platter of them. It was great. It was she made these really nice. I mean, it was cheese, beans, like a whole rice, and just like nachos, chicken, melted cheese on like a huge like wood board. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was going to be my question to you. What did you guys eat? Because I know you had kind of said nachos, and when we had talked on the phone last week, and I was waiting. I don't know. I don't think you heard me, bro. When I said, I was like, "Are you going to have meat on it?" Because I know that Bree, is vegan or vegetarian.
So Bree made and we got to get Coach Ortiz. Is like, guys, I'm waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
Bree made like chicken ones for Isla and I, and then she made her own. It's kind of like it's like it's gonna sound, people are gonna throw up on it. It's almost like a vegan chorizo. It's plant based.
Yeah,
like a ground beef kind of.
Hers is actually good.
Yeah, it actually has good flavor, and so she made her own nachos, same exact thing, but with that kind of veggie meat on it. Gotta be open minded. And honestly, it's funny, man. I always tell my buddies, like, if you didn't know, like, if I made you a burrito and you didn't know what was in it, and I gave you a bite, you'd be like, oh yeah, like, and you'd finish the burrito. I guarantee you. Like, it's just funny to me. Okay, all right.
Bro, wait, okay. I got to do my thing that I teased.
I got it queued up.
The pregame meal tonight, which is something I'm going to start like posting more of. I did it last week with the chili cheese fries from Michael's on Slauson. Tonight, I went to Shoots, which I just found out about today off of a social media post that they had. And Tarek is queuing up the picture. This is located in Rodeo 72, depending on how you, I guess in Whittier, we're not going to say Rodeo like Rodeo Drive. We're going to say Rodeo, but even though in Whittier, you may say it more.
You probably, I think you even see it on the back end there, but that's go ahead. Tell us what we're looking at here.
So this is the kimchi butter katsu chicken, done spicy. It's served on a bed of rice, and then there's a scoop of macaroni salad with it. I think this is kind of a play on Hawaiian barbecue, if you will.
Okay.
With we talked about earlier, a little Korean flavor with the kimchi brought in. The butter, I don't know, it made me almost feel like maybe a little Indian influence there.
Ooh, like a butter chicken kind of, like curry almost. Okay.
Yes. And it works. It works well. It was very good. I was impressed. They were cool. I told them not to drench the chicken. Give me a little bit on the side. It was very good. And we'll ask Coach Ortiz about this, actually, because Shoots, not only is there one here in the Rodeo 72, but I'm looking at their Instagram account right now. There's one in San Juan Capistrano, there's one in Stanton, there's one in Ontario, and there's one in Long Beach. So I smell a show sponsorship, but also it was legitimately very, very good. They have a couple other dishes, like a chicken katsu sandwich. They also have a chicken and shrimp combo, kind of like what I got here, or just a shrimp combo, which ought to be pretty popular on Friday nights during Lent. So overall, I recommend it. It was very good, and certainly a new spin on Katsu chicken. So very good.
I thought you were gonna say, I smell a sponsorship, and then it's like, well, no, you probably also smell it still, like, permeating in your room. Okay.
There's that too, yeah.
Okay, here's a question. How much was that?
It came out to 15 something. I want to say
that's not bad.
Right around
that's
15.
Not bad.
And it was a lot of food. I should not have eaten the whole thing, but I did. Because I don't know about you, but when I'm eating something spicy and my nose starts running and whatever, kind of like chips and salsa at a Mexican restaurant when you first get there, you just can't stop eating it because your mouth is on fire. You keep eating it. Your drink tastes better, especially if it's a little sweet, that drink, because the salsa's got your taste buds queued up. So yeah, a decent amount of food there. So yeah.
Without further ado, Coach, if you're back there, wake up. We've put you to sleep. No, I'm kidding. Ladies and gentlemen, Jaime Ortiz, San Clemente High School football coach. Please, W's in the chat for Coach Ortiz. His quarterback just won the Super Bowl. Coach Ortiz, welcome to the show.
Great to hear from you guys. I'm getting hungry just listening to you guys talk.
Yeah, so Coach, shoots in San Juan Capistrano, have you been?
I've not been there.
Okay.
Heard of it?
I've not heard of it, but now I have, and I guess knowledge is power.
Yeah, shoot.
Yeah, knowledge is power.
So actually, really quick, so is it a Chinese spot, like Korean spot? Like, what's it branded?
Dude, it just says the original home of kimchi butter. They also have ube beignets. Beignets would be kind of like a French New Orleans.
Yeah, so there's got to be. They got all
it's
a
definitely
fusion going.
Fusion, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. Vinu.
Well, I can say I ate at my first fusion place now.
Vinu's in the chat. He'll do some digging.
Vinu's here in Whittier, I think permanently. So Vinu will definitely be hitting this place up.
He'll figure out what's going on over there. Coach Ortiz, welcome to Fattal Factor. Look, I think just before we even get into the nitty gritty, just hey, how did you enjoy the game last night? Were you at home? Were you by any chance with other coaches that coached Sam? What community per se were you with when you enjoyed yesterday's Super Bowl?
It was a combination of our coaches and our family. One guy, especially Troy Kopp, our offensive coordinator, he coached Sam back in the day, and it was kind of cool to sit back and on the couch and just watch the game. And it didn't have as much food as you guys had, but it was cool. Just had a couple of coaches over, a couple of family members, and just be a nice, quiet room. 10 of us there watching the game and supporting Sam and the Seahawks.
Was watching that. I mean, look, there's no question. I think just the fact when he's had so many big moments, right? Obviously, this is the biggest. We're not even going to talk about that. But I guess leading up to his career in the Super Bowl, man, playing so well at USC, getting drafted so high in the draft, having big moments in the NFL, like I'm sure as a coach, it's got to be almost less and less surreal. But was there a whole new level of surrealness you might have felt him hoisting the Lombardi Trophy?
Very much so. I mean, even today, seeing some of the clips from the game from last night and some of the post game stuff, and just going, that's Sam. The guy that's out here throwing in the summer, and our ball boy at one point in time, just to see him have some success and what he's been able to do, it's definitely hasn't really hit totally. I'm unsure for him. He was on a plane this morning going to Disneyland. He hasn't had a chance to even rest, and so I think as things kind of settle down, it'll probably be more kind of different. But right now, it's excitement for Sam and his family and the Seahawks.
Forget Sam having a rest, Coach. What about you, man? You've been doing just as much media as him over the last week. It's been insane.
Yeah, it's been crazy, and from ESPN to NBC, KTLA, KABC, and of course finishing with you guys. Nothing, but the best to the end. But Sam's a great kid and a really good family, and it's easy to talk about. And in my opinion, it's a great story. As Tarek was saying earlier, what he's been through, the adversity he's faced, and the ways to overcome it. I think it's a good lesson for all athletes and coaches when preparing athletes to play at the next level and beyond.
How has the publicity helped recruiting?
We're still San Clemente,
I'm sorry I had to.
Yeah, no. You think about us, and Coach Kopp and I were talking about it last night. Over the last since I've been here since 2000, we've had 9 quarterbacks go Division I, and so college coaches know from the get-go that San Clemente is the place to be. Our current quarterback right now is only sophomore, has 3 offers, and so if you're looking for a quarterback, coaches know San Clemente is where you want to be.
Troy Kopp, man, just How about that guy? I hope people have as long, well, I guess I'm dating myself here, a long enough perspective to remember when he was a stud at Pacific. He went to Mission Viejo High School, and then he went to Pacific. And he was one of the better players in the country in college ball playing at Pacific. And, Coach, he's become, I mean, he doesn't get the publicity that he deserves. I guess that's part of the one town, one team thing, but he has become like just as good of a QB guru as there is out there in SoCal.
Yeah, he had a great career at Pacific. For him, he's had three Elite 11 quarterbacks at San Clemente High School with Jack Sears and Sam Darnold and Travis Wilson. And he and I go back. We started coaching together in 1993. So he and I go way back. And then we're pretty blessed because Troy's calling the offense. And our other quarterback coach, we have John Beck, who works for 3D QB. He's one of the top quarterback coaches in the nation. So
BYU, right?
Correct. Yeah. BYU played for the Redskins and Miami Dolphins. So when those two guys come together and they're talking ball, you can sit back and just listen. So it's really great to see what they're doing and, helping our athletes and prepare for high school season, hopefully something beyond that.
Yeah. Do I need to get on my soapbox now, Tarek?
Go ahead. No, you go.
Okay. Why would anybody ever leave San Clemente is my question. And I guess I can kind of bring that into Sam in some way, shape, or form here, because I brought this up. Sam was who was the QB he was behind? Because he wasn't always a QB. I guess we can just go to the Ed Orgeron story now. Because this is kind of leads into my next question about not leaving San Clemente. Maybe he had chances to do so and transfer out. You're surrounded on all sides by Trinity League or San Diego area powers and whatnot. But yet Sam stuck it out at San Clemente, which to me is a huge thing. So if you can make something out of what I just quasi said and asked there.
Yeah, I speak Aram, so we're good.
Yeah,
but I would say, it started with Sam. As a freshman, he played quarterback and linebacker for us, and Sam's family and I go way back. Sam's mom, Chris, was my master teacher when I first started getting into teaching. And so we go back to the late 90s, early 2000s when Sam was about 5-6 years old. And everybody kind of knew about Sam coming up through the community here. And as a freshman, he played quarterback and also linebacker. And then the Ed Orgeron story, at the end of his freshman year, we're in spring football, and we had a player by the name of Kyle Murphy. He was a 5-star kid, U.S. Army All-American, had over 30 off.
Oh,
whoops, we lost Coach.
Okay, God, right in the middle of the Orgeron story too. Let's see if he'll. I'm sure he'll.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll.
There he is. Coach, can you hear us? Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Let me get him back.
So we lost you about the. Oh, okay.
Got him. You're good.
Okay, we lost you around the time of he's entering his sophomore year, spring ball.
Right. Yep. So spring ball, and at that time we had a player by the name of Kyle Murphy. He was a 5-star offensive lineman. USC, Stanford, you name it, everybody was after him. Had over 30 offers, and we had a junior lineman by the name of Sean Harlow, Pat Harlow's son, who had also multiple offers. And so Ed Orgeron was set up base camp here at San Clemente High School, really trying to get Kyle. And as we're going through spring ball, and these kids are going to be seniors, and Sam's going to be, at that point, as a freshman, going to be sophomore, and he's out there doing linebacker drills. And Ed Orgeron at that time, he was one of the few guys before phones that had real good cameras. He had his own camcorder. And what he would do is all the coaches would go out and film kids. So then they give back to the recruiting department, and they would go ahead and splice together that film so Coach Carroll and the rest of the coaches could see it. And, we're there out of practice, and Ed's like, hey, Coach, who's that big redhead over there? And I go, that's Sam Darnold. I go, he's going to be legit. And he's all, I like the way he moves, And so a lot of people go, oh, you recruit him as a linebacker. No, he's one of the first guys to kind of notice him, that freshman year. But USC, of course, planted the seed very early with him, with his grandfather going there and being local. It was a great school for him and an opportunity for him to be a Trojan. But the question he asked also about his sophomore year. Sophomore year, there's him, another quarterback by the name of Sean Donnelly. Both were very good, and the sky was the limit with Sam. But the problem we had that year is that Sam was such a good athlete, it was kind of hard to figure out how Sam could throw the ball to Sam. And so we decided that Sam would be a two-way player for us. Sam wanted to be on varsity, and at that point in time, we made a decision to go with Sean as a quarterback, and Sam was going to be the athlete. At the end of the season, with week 8 or so, our quarterback broke his collarbone, and Sam came in and started that game and led us to a last minute victory. He scored through a 40-yard touchdown pass with about 17 seconds left, and we converted a 2-point conversion to win that game as Sam as a sophomore. And so you kind of saw at that point, like, yeah, this kid's the real deal. And from that point forward, he continued to improve through his high school career.
It was brought up yesterday by Chris Collinsworth, and I don't think a lot of people see it or quite understand the athleticism that he has. He makes the pass rush miss. And I was watching him in the Rose Bowl again this past week against Penn State, and he was making that pass rush miss, and he's stepping up, doing all these things that I think people kind of take for granted now. And I think they don't understand the athleticism he has. And something that I saw, I was watching Max Brown, former USC QB up from Washington. He was, major time recruit. That's who Sam was behind originally at USC. And he said at practice, Sam made like a play, made guys miss and just like threw this like missile downfield. And basically him and the other QB there, I can't remember. Town. The QB's name was Town. Was it Ricky Town?
Yeah.
Said they looked at each other and was like, holy shit, we got Brett Favre like in our QB room. Coach, that aspect of him, he's a hell of an athlete too.
Right. Yeah, I know you've seen some basketball clips right here. Sam, as a sophomore, was the league MVP in basketball. By the time he was a senior, he was league MVP in football, league MVP in basketball. He was All-CIF Offensive Player of the Year, and he was Orange County Athlete of the Year. And, Sam was a two-sport athlete. He played baseball his freshman year as well, narrowed down to football and basketball. And a kind of quick, funny story about Sam was going into his junior year, he actually broke his foot week 3 of the season his junior year, and he was out towards the end of the year. And we could have had him come back, but I just said, hey, we're going to take our time, do this right. You have basketball season coming up. And he wanted to play and help the team. But more importantly, we wanted to try and protect him for that basketball season and the next season, because that spring was going to be so important for him. Because going into his senior year, he only had 4.5 games of film. And his basketball film, we put that on his huddle highlights. And so that way coaches could see his athleticism on the basketball court and be able to see what he could do. Now, towards the end of that junior year, he also played basketball as well. Wasn't 100%, but I wanted coach to see him making a 3-point shot, getting a steal, driving and getting an assist and controlling the offense. And I think that helped him also get recruited because of his basketball film and his football film.
And a quick follow-up on the Ed Orgeron, just to go back a little bit. So the Ed Orgeron story, he basically just had kind of an eye for talent per se, and just thought, hey, that kid looks good, he moves good, what's his name? And that was, and not to say that that's not important, but that was basically it. Like, let me just keep an eye on this young kid because I like the way he moves. That was basically that interaction.
Yeah, it was. He didn't offer him or
right. Okay.
There was no NIL deals back then, but
yeah,
he didn't offer him, but he wanted to know who he was. And the USC story, actually, it's another good one. When Sam was going through his senior summer, getting ready for his senior year, one of the schools that was interested in was USC. With his grandfather going there and being close proximity to home. And USC had a quarterback committed at that time, and we had rumors they were taking another one. And there was a quarterback named Travis Johnson out of Servite High School, where they were allegedly bringing him in for a workout. And once I heard they were, I reached out to Clay Helton and I said, hey, if you're looking for a quarterback, I got a guy, because we thought they were only going to take Ricky Town and that was it. And so that was right before that. Sam had made the Elite 11, and his stock really kind of went through the roof. And Sam went and threw for Sark and Clay Helton at a 7-on-7 tournament. It was actually on campus there, and they just took Sam. Sam registered for the tournament, went out to the side, and they had him throw for about 25-30 minutes. And Sam goes up to Coach Sark's office, and 20 minutes later, he's grinning, ear to ear, comes back downstairs with an offer from USC, which was really one of the top schools that he was interested in. USC and Utah were kind of the two top schools for him as he went through that process.
Something else Max Brown said was, this is an era kicked off by Carson Palmer, where the guys they're bringing in year after year are getting drafted. They're having great careers. You're talking your Mark Sanchez's, Matt Barkley's, on to Sam. The guys they're bringing in from recruiting as well are tops in the country. You could still make the argument that that's still the case, but I mean USC really had it going back in that era. So just to get an offer and be able to commit to it and be in that QB room at that time was just huge.
Right. Yeah. I think Cody Kessler, I think, was the quarterback at that time. And, Sam, just another story of basketball and football. They wanted him to early enroll, and Sam wanted to finish out basketball season. So Sam went through basketball season, finished basketball season, and then he enrolled at USC. And if I remember correctly, by the time spring ball was over, Ricky Town, who enrolled mid-semester, I think he ended up transferring out at that time. I think everybody kind of knew there was a new sheriff in town coming. And, for him, for Sam, he didn't want to finish, lead basketball, want to make sure he finished the season, and then he's going to go be a Trojan. There wasn't a big rush like there is nowadays. And for him, he knew Cody had a spot there and was ready to take over, when the time came.
Yeah. Tremendous. Coach, what kind of, maybe off the, I mean, it sounds, it's going to be all positive, but I always like to ask, what are some things that Sam needed to work on in high school that he did that made him so much better? Like, what were some of his deficiencies? No one's perfect.
The only thing I would say from a physical standpoint, corner routes. He wasn't good at corner routes in high school, but everything else he was good at. I think one thing that he learned, he's a very competitive guy. And going into, I want to say his junior year in basketball season, one time they lost a close game. They thought they should have won. And he goes in the locker room and he punches the locker. And thankfully he didn't break anything, but he had some nice bruises on his hand. And I told Sam, I said, hey, Sam, you got to be able to control your emotions a little bit because 90% of the time that locker is going to win. And for him, he wasn't a competitor athlete, but to be honest with you, what you saw, in the interviews over the last 2 weeks, that's who he is, and he hasn't changed. I think that's a credit to his mom and dad. Chris and Mike have done a great job. Frankie, his older sister, kind of laying the foundation for him as well. And, of course, his grandparents and all them. And, and people try to find, well, what do you say about the Jets? What do you say about Carolina? And what about this, what about that? But at the end of the day, what you see is what you get. And he hasn't changed since he was in high school. Matter of fact, I was in San Francisco when they played a couple of weeks ago with the 49ers, and Sam gets off the bus. He's wearing Converse, jeans, and a flannel. That's the same exact thing he wore in high school. And so for him, I'd say, the only thing I would say is just sometimes controlling a little bit of emotions when you're that competitive, but sometimes it's better to peel that back versus trying to amp it up. And so that's probably the only thing really.
Coach, what does the offseason look like for him? You kind of mentioned this a little earlier. So he is present in San Clemente during the offseason. I've heard he goes surfing there even, or maybe I don't have that right. I hope I do. But he is around, is my understanding. Is that true?
Right. He lives in a community called Monarch Beach. It's right up the road. It's actually in Dana Point, right up the road.
Nice.
And he lives there. Josh Allen lives there as well. And then Kyle Allen, who I forgot what team he's for, he lives on the other side of the street. So they all live close by, a couple quarterbacks, and they all came really to Southern California because of Sam. They come out and visit and hang out. This is a pretty nice place to live, and they end up coming out. So they do throwing sessions together. For Sam, he takes a little bit of time off, and then he gets back at it. He's here at the high school. He also work out locally, but we see him 3 to 4 times, 5 times during the summer, and I try and grab dinner from him at least one night. It's going to be a little bit harder to do now. Last year we were able to get away, and only 2 people recognized him before we left.
Oh, I hope this isn't. Oh boy, no, I don't think it's me. Hold on.
So, Coach, does he surf though?
I think he has surfed. I don't think for him. Yeah, not a huge surfer, but I would say golf, which he picked up a couple of years ago. That's something that's really important to him, and then also just still shooting the ball around and playing hoops.
So I got to ask it. I've asked every coach this so far that we've had on this offseason, and you will be no different, but I think it has some play to this 7-on-7. We'll ask it with a Sam Darnold type spin. Is Sam Darnold a product of 7-on-7?
No. He that was not his thing. He was asked to go. There was some pylon tournament out in Mesquite, Texas, or Mesquite, Nevada. And Sam, that wasn't his jam. It's not what he wanted to do. He appreciated the offer, but he told the coach, I'd rather stay back and work out my teammates. And so he wasn't a big 7-on-7 guy, and it wasn't that prevalent as much back then. We try, we have an organization where we do a lot of 7-on-7, try and keep it in-house as much as possible. And we've been pretty lucky that, honestly, all of our quarterbacks, none of them are much involved in the 7-on-7 piece. They tend to stay local to our roots and stay here. And, we are pretty isolated down here. So our kids don't like to leave San Clemente in the first place, but they're not traveling to Arizona and Nevada. We stay with our coaches, and what we prepare for is what is going to help us in the season. So when we do 7-on-7, we go out there and throw the ball around. It's really preparing for the upcoming season, not trying to win a tournament or medals or Instagram posts.
Okay, clip that, Tarek. That finish was just fantastic. Go ahead.
No, I'm watching these USC highlights and stuff, and I don't know if this is a little bit of a shot in the dark here, but have you obviously it's only been one day. Okay, Coach, did you interact with your football team today? Was there stuff? Did you guys do stuff today at all?
Yeah, we had actually a 7 a.m. workout, and after they won, we moved it to 1:45. So the way our school worked, our strength coach went to UW, and so he's a big Washington fan and Seattle fan.
Okay.
And so we decided to give the kids a morning off and look this afternoon, and we had a chance to talk about it. One of the things that I address to the kids is that we live in a society now where for its instant gratification, whether it be a tweet, whether it be a retweet, whether it be a like, whether it be a DM or Snapchat.
Yes.
And here's a guy that went through, a ton of adversity in high school. And, honestly, his sophomore year, he just said, hey, I'm not the starter. I'm leaving. No, what I got to be on varsity? I'll play any position you need. I'm here to help the team. That's what I want to do. When he went to USC and Max Brown was named the starter, he could have transferred when the portal, left and done all that stuff. But he said, no, I'm going to be a good teammate of Max. And when it's my time, it's my time. And later on that season, it was his time. And then you go through the process of the NFL, with the Jets in Carolina, you'd be the first one to tell you, I didn't play good enough. And I think there's numerous factors as to why the programs weren't successful during that time. And then he finally went to San Francisco. And I think that's a crucial year for him because he was around Kyle Shanahan, he was around Brock Purdy, and he had a chance to kind of step back and just reset. And I think the 49ers, they went to the Super Bowl, and for him to go through that experience helped him probably this past 2 weeks preparing for the Super Bowl. And so he'll tell you that everything's part of his journey. And, not everything is going to be peaches and cream. Not everything's going to be nice. One of my things that I appreciate is, as coaches here at San Clemente High School, we want to be transformational. And I think a lot of what Sam says reminds me of what we tell our kids every single day. And as a coach, it's my job to help kids climb the mountain, but I'm not going to move the mountain for them. And I think that's something that's important for Sam as he's gone through his journey is over the 5 teams he's been at, and he kept his head down, continued to work, ignored all the noise and the negativity, and just focused on his family and him, and good things happen from that.
So to recap, didn't start career in the Trinity League, didn't transfer to the Trinity League when things weren't going well, didn't play 7-on to build his stock or whatever the hell that might be doing. Wins the Super Bowl. I mean, I fast forwarded ahead a little bit there, but you guys get the point.
Yeah.
He trusted the process. I mean, that's sort of the moral of the story, right, Coach?
Yeah, his senior year, when he was a junior, we were 2-0 with him, and once he got hurt, we didn't have a trigger man, and we went 0-8. So we're 2-8 with his junior year, and our hashtag that year was, of course, one town, one team, but also Operation Redemption. Like, we got to get this program back on the map. This was not what we were last year. Is not representative of our school and our program and our community. And that following year, we went 12-2. And I think for Sam, what he's accomplished, at San Clemente High School, and we've had a lot of, like I said, quarterbacks and athletes come through the last couple of years in our program. We're blessed to have great kids who represent their school and represent their community. And, it's kind of old school down here. We have a homecoming parade. They shut down Del Mar, and everybody goes out on a Friday night. We have community members who come to the game. Never had kids in our program, but they want to be part of us, and we appreciate that. And that's the reason why I've been here for 26 years.
Coach, the reason why I brought up this morning's meeting, I think it's there's something about, and you're around young people every day. I just imagine, being around young people, they're so generally glass half full type humans, right? When they're that young, generally. And so my question for you is, just having those kids see Sam Darnold win the Super Bowl and knowing he went to San Clemente, do you feel like they all have... Oh, I might have lost them. Hold on. Hold on. This is on me.
Oh, okay. I
This
think
is
he's
on
still
me.
back.
No,
Yeah.
you guys are good. You guys are good. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, finish your
Yeah.
question, dude.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know why it's dropping like that. But I was asking, like, do you sense like a pep in everyone's step? Like maybe they could be the next Sam Darnold from San Clemente? That has to be a thing that all young people in your program are thinking right now. They may not say it out loud, but I think inside they're thinking, man, that could be me.
Right. I mean, like part of our program mantra is, you want to raise the bar, make it better than you left it. And I think for our kids, especially this morning, in our town, there wasn't a lot of Seahawks fans 2 years ago. And now our players included, they're rooting for Sam. And he spoke to our team this past summer and our youth campers this past summer. And our kids are like, hey, I was in his shoes at one point, going through my high school process. And if you, like you said, you do good things, that good things happen to you. And I think definitely those kids relate to Sam. And they're still in the same weight room, still in the same team room, and I think for our kids, it's an inspirational thing, getting them, hoping them prepare for the upcoming season.
Coach, my last question, just again, circling back to the whole Trinity League, on one side, you have Jay Sarah, you have Santa Margarita, you have, opportunity to go to San Diego area. Everything's kind of close, and yet there seems to be some sort of iron dome around the San Clemente program, where you guys keep winning. This past year in the D2 championship game, even after a slow start, team got better and better and better. How have you kind of, and I think you probably maybe gave a lot of this answer already, how have you gotten San Clemente to a point where it's really kind of untouchable talent-wise by the vultures that surround it?
We've been very blessed to have a great community support, good families that come through. And, there's a lot of alumni here in San Clemente, and my goal as a coach is to find good coaches that are better men. And I think we've been able to put that all together. We have guys who also play in the NFL. We have guys that have tons of years of experience coaching. But more importantly, I think we have players that grow up together. And I think that's something that nowadays it's hard to find, and there are attractions to other programs where it may be public and private, if you want a faith-based education, maybe, Jay Sarah Modern Day is the place for you. But for us here at San Clemente High School, I think it's important that they represent their town, represent the community, and they represent each other. And that's one thing when I came here in 2000, I'm like, these kids play hard. And I think they play hard for each other because they grow up together. And that's something that nowadays at other schools, there's a lot more transactions, a lot more movement. And I've been very blessed to be here as long as I have and have that consistency, because I think we do things the right way, and kids have fun playing, and they want to go out and be the next Sam Darnold.
Coach, my last question for you is kind of almost 30,000 feet up from a coach that's been around a long time. I do want to ask you about other programs real quick, and that's what's going on in the Trinity League. I'm kind of curious your thoughts as a coach, neighboring coach, one that's been around a long time and a successful one, to see what's going on in the Trinity League with 3 coaching changes in one off season. Carson Palmer, by all means, had a very talented team, but, to go on and see a little parity at the top, what do you think about all that, the change and the way that things could be moving in the Trinity League, which everyone wants to talk about because it's such a competitive league?
Right. Yeah. And I don't have all the answers, but from my perspective, I am good friends with Jason Negro, St. John Bosco. And I think the fact that he went there, he's a Salesian brother, so he understands the expectations of what, what they want from an academic standpoint, from a faith standpoint, from a football standpoint. Bruce Rawlinson was very successful at Modern Day because he went to Modern Day and he understood what the expectations were, and I don't know recent with Orange Lou and Servite, new coach over at Jay Sarah, I think, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. There's definitely a lot of pressure at those schools. There's more, in my opinion, there's a lot of transactional leadership from administration down. If you don't win, you're out. And sometimes wins aren't measured by wins and losses. It's by building young men and doing things the right way. And for me, it's not my cup of tea. I prefer, where I'm at, and I ain't going anywhere anytime soon. But for some coaches, they want the challenge, like Carson Palmer did. But also Carson went to Santa Margarita, so I think he understands the culture of what that school is. But I just would, what I've heard and through my years of coaching is a lot about, wins and losses and getting kids from all different area codes and freeways and so forth. And I think they got to maybe take a look and go back to what their mission statement is. Are they faith-based school? And if they are, that's where it starts. And hopefully you're a good athlete outside of that as well.
Yeah, appreciate
He
your input.
answered the question.
Well, no, it's a great
No.
answer, but I was also gonna say, like, we had Hardy Nickerson on, and I think he actually more embodied what Coach just talked about. If from the sense and just the energy that I felt, the hire was more what Coach Ortiz just talked. Would you agree with that, Aaron? It was more like, hey, we're gonna coach him up, we're gonna get better, we're gonna grow men. He really didn't talk about like winning the Trinity League, though I'm sure that's his goal. The guy's not gonna show up and not compete, but I think there could be more of that coming, Coach.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Jason and Bruce, during their time, and now Raul over at Modern Day. Like, I think, Carson Palmer did a great job trying to catch up to that train. I think Bosco and Modern Day, they left the station about 7 years ago, and everybody's trying to catch up to them. And Coach Palmer put a great staff together, and they got some key transfers to come in and kind of help them in that process. And every year, I think, in my opinion, when you're in the Trinity League, a lot of wins and losses take place in the off season. When kids leave, when kids come, and that's their mantra, that's their cup of tea. But I prefer where I'm at and what I do.
Coach, okay, so you answered the question. I'm sorry, I know I said I had my last question. You answered the question pretty much before I even could ask it. And I probably wasn't going to ask you because, as you know, every time a Trinity League job opens up, I text you. You going for it, Coach? And I always get the same answer every time. I've been at San Clemente for X number of years. Not going anywhere, not interested. So obviously you answered that aspect of it, but have they ever come after you?
There's in the past, there's been some people reaching out, but I'm going to let James Brock and Chris Ford talk about that. But
oh man,
my son's a junior. My daughter's a freshman here, and I have a seventh grader. And like I said, I came to San Clemente in 2000. I went and watched the homecoming parade, and I said, "This is amazing, and this is where I want to be." And for me as a head coach and being a teacher here on campus, it's a great community, great support system for our administration, and really good kids. And I'm blessed to be around some really good coaches that make my life a lot easier. And being a mile and a half from the beach, it's not a bad place to be.
Man, Coach Ortiz absolutely brought it, Tarek.
All time. Coach, we really appreciate you taking the time. We know you're interviewed out, so thank you for saying yes and getting on here and chumming it up with us for about 30 minutes. Thank you so much. Good luck this off season. I'm sure we'll be in touch. We're looking forward to seeing you in the fall, and thank you for coming on to the Fattal Factor.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. And I appreciate what you guys do for high school sports, not just football, but all sports. And I look forward to watching you guys in the future. One town, one team.
Thanks, Coach.
You got it.
Sorry, hold on. There we go. All right, there he goes. Coach Ortiz. Man, that was awesome. There's some good stories in there too, Aram. I love that Ed Orgeron story. I'm glad he kind of cleared it up, because the way the Ed Orgeron story kind of gets circled around is that, tell me if you've heard this, almost the notion that Coach Orgeron saw Darnold in linebacker drills and went, he's going to play quarterback. And that's not how it went. But that story seems to have got that like allure to it. So I'm glad he just kind of pointed him out as a great athlete and someone to keep an eye on, and then he ended up being a great quarterback.
You also have the story from Sam's perspective, as he's out there practicing and he's just hitting bags, and he knows he's not the one being looked at.
There you go.
And yet the camera's on him. And Sam, in the interview that I saw, basically said, why the F is this guy filming me?
Yeah.
Like, he's just a sophomore. He's going into a sophomore year. He's playing linebacker. He's not on anyone's recruiting radar. But Coach O just has that talent evaluation eye that the great ones have. So, man, that was a fantastic interview. It really was. The Instagram, thing about not playing, passing league for Instagram and social media, or 7-on, I should call it, not passing league. Coach Ortiz just brought it. Find me a better coach and coaching staff in SoCal, Tarek. We got a lot of them. Great coaches, great coaching staffs. San Clemente takes a backseat to nobody with Coach Ortiz. You saw it in action last year. They were a little bit of a wreck. They lost to Tustin, remember, early on?
Yes.
And fast forward to the end of the season, they're in the CIF championship game. Coach Ortiz, Troy Kopp, John Beck, like he says, who I keep forgetting, John Beck's on staff too. Incredible brain trust there. Coach
Yeah.
Merchant, we shouldn't forget about Coach
Yeah,
Merchant.
yeah, yeah.
Also.
One of the he watches the show and he's in Spaces. Coach Merchant. Shout out to Coach Merchant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they want that CIF game back because don't forget that they actually gave Los Alamitos their first loss earlier in the year, and then then they lost to Los Alamitos in the final.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Man.
great. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's like yeah. But Coach Ortiz, man, is a class act, and I kind of forgot to ask him. There was one. I talked to him at the luncheon at the CIF championship luncheon, and I actually asked him, "Hey, Coach, have you talked with Sam? What's going on?" And this is obviously in the middle of the NFL season, and the Seahawks are doing great. And he actually mentioned to me that there was another team that Darnold almost and it was between the Seahawks and I want to say the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know if he's talked to you. I should have. He's gone now.
I don't think he'd be the Falcons because Cousins was there and then Penix, obviously.
Yeah, that's true too. There was someone else that was totally in the mix and he like was in between too. Would have been. I should have asked him because that would have been fun.
I can text him, but we should probably leave him alone.
Anyway, yeah, no, it was a great interview, and I'm so glad he came on. Aaron, I'm trying to think. I like I said, for those that I don't know if I mentioned at the top of the show, but I've been having internet issues all week, and so or all day. So I'm like, I feel like that had something to do with you guys dropping real quick, but not really. I don't know if that was just.
Yeah,
I don't know what that was, but if it was the internet issue, you guys would have. I don't know. It would have been way more of an issue than you guys just dropping off the stream and me clicking you back on real quick. Point is,
right.
I want to.
Let's talk hoops, dude.
Well, I kind of want to quit while I'm ahead. Okay. Brock's right. That's what it is. I think it was the Raiders. I think he's right. I think he's right. I think it was the Raiders.
Sense.
Boy, did he make the right choice.
Even Pete Carroll.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much hoops there is to talk. I mean, we got the open division now. That'll be fun. I predicted the format. I pretty much nailed it, apart from a couple details. But it's going to be a great format. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how it pans out. Fred's going to be all over Damian. I think, which is great. I just think Damian, they really don't, I hate to say it, they really don't have I don't think they're going to win it, but they certainly can get out of their group and earn a playoff berth. So, they should be fine in that retrospect. But, yeah, it's like Sierra Canyon, Redondo Union, Santa Margarita. I believe it's going to be one of those three teams that wins the whole thing.
Okay, 25, 28 people in here right now. I need 28, 25 likes to show up. Just hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribers went over 2,100, which, Tarek, I wanted to talk to you about. These are my hoops things for you. Sure. Fantastic job with the Selection Saturday show.
Thank you.
This past Saturday, outstanding. Did great numbers, had excitement in the chat, people finding out who they're playing and whatnot. So great job with that. Just another reason why this YouTube channel is the only one-stop shop you need. We're bringing everything great to you guys with high school sports, and Tarek did it again on Saturday. My one question to you, okay? Since state playoffs are not guaranteed now for the open division teams, right? Okay, my question is twofold. Which team, if you had to predict right now, is going home? They're just not going to have a good run of it in the state playoffs. You've seen their grouping, whatever, and they're in the open playoffs, in the Southern Section open playoffs. Which team, if you had to bet right now, would you say is just not going to make it to state and they're going to have a rough time in the open?
Yeah. So the two of the 12 that are more likely to go home aren't even.
You want to give me two? Okay. Two.
Well, no, that's what it is, because only 10 of the 12 advance.
I was only saying just give me one.
No,
if you can do two, do two.
Yeah, I think the team that's probably the most in danger is kind of the low-hanging fruit team, and that's Corona Del Mar. That's the team this year that kind of like doesn't belong. But what I like about this format, Aram, and why I think the CIF made it, and I do like it, although a lot of purists don't, is you're not going to play, in years past, Aram, you would play pool play, and then you would kind of wait to see any tiebreakers, or you'd almost have to like let the math determine if you were going to go home or advance. Yeah. In this playoff format, you play pool play, and then Corona Del Mar will have a chance on the court against a similar level team to advance to the state playoffs. That's
Okay.
really cool to me. Like, if you win the game, you're alive. You lose, you go home. Every coach, there's still this old school cutthroat aspect to it. Hey, Seuss, thank you for the $5. Appreciate it, man. That was big. Thank you so much. I think Corona Del Mar, it's the other one that gets a little dicey, man. It could be like a Damien.
Okay, what about La Mirada? Brock asks, is La Mirada going to make it to state?
I think La Mirada, this is why I think La Mirada is going to get to state. I think, remember, you only have to, if they basically, you just don't want to finish last in your pool.
Right.
If you do, you go down to those are the 4 teams that are going to duke it out. I think La Mirada, if they do finish last in the pool, they're going to win. I think they're going to win that last game. The team that I could see maybe fizzling out is Damien.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to say like Corona Del Mar, Damien. La Mirada's definitely right there, but they have like the star power. They have a Gene Roebuck that can kind of take over like a Damien game or a Corona Del Mar game. Or maybe even if they have to like play like Crespi or something like that. Crespi's another one that I think if they don't play right, they've got some kind of internal challenges. I do think that there's another one that's dangerous. But if they play well, they can be very, very good. So yeah.
Our boy Manny Alvarez brings up a good point, Tarek. And you did see some of this. A lot of these teams were watching your Selection Saturday show like it was Selection Sunday for the NCAA tournament. And I saw you post some pics of the teams that they had sent you. Hey, we're having a little watch party.
Yep.
You love to see that stuff, and this is the time where everybody, even guys like me, football's now completely over. We're right in the minute you start getting interested in hoops. High school is right into the playoffs. This is it. Like this is the time I think when people are really going to start paying more attention.
Yeah, appreciate it. He said, meant to pay better internet service. LOL. JK, keep it up. Thanks for the donation, Jesus. Yeah, Manny says Crespi in there too. I think those are the teams. The good thing about Crespi and Corona Del Mar, they're in the same pool. So one of them one of them's going to get a berth. And here's don't be surprised. Crespi has to go to Corona Del Mar. I can guarantee you that gym is going to be bedlam. So, man, that's going to be a tough place to win.
Inglewood, Tarek, tell me about Oh, look at Brock, man. Jeez.
Is that who that is?
Yeah, that was Brock. I
Wow.
feel like we're at knockouts or the library right now. Brock's making it rain.
Brock, thank you, man. Nice for the $20 donation. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for always supporting the channel.
Yeah, thank you, Brock.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
So talk to me about Inglewood.
Yeah, Inglewood's in Division 1. I hate to I'll
They
probably
gonna win it?
No, they're not. They're not going to win it. They're
Bro,
not gonna
what?
win it. No.
Crow, bro.
They're not, and Crow's going to call me tomorrow and be like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about."
The dad?
Yeah. And
All
he's
right,
cool.
good.
Crow likes me. He would never
Yeah.
I know he likes me, but he feels comfortable enough to call me and go, "Dude, you don't know what you're talking about." Like, you know, blah 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 blah. See, you don't know. He'll always say like, "Oh, let me teach you." It's like, all right, bro. I know hoops, man. I know what I'm watching. I just think what they're gonna do is they're gonna run into a high quality team that knows how to beat one player. It's just that's what's gonna happen, man. Now, by all means, I'll tell you this.
Tarek, all those teams are in the open.
No. St. Francis is in Division 1. Cream Lutheran's really good. They're in Division 1. There is some good teams. Jay Sarah, third place finisher in the Trinity League, very capable.
Okay.
I mean, some teams that have size, athleticism, skill in 3 or 4 different spots. Inglewood, their biggest challenge isn't that they can score, they can speed the game up. They're kind of like, and don't take offense to this, because Chino Hills was a team that won everything at the highest level. So they're not that. You can't say Inglewood's that because they haven't won anything, and they certainly aren't playing on the biggest level. But they are somewhat of a 1.0 version of Chino Hills. They play fast. They like to take up the little helter-skelter, shoot a lot of shots. But it's all coming from Jason Crow Jr., man, and I just think teams are good enough to key in on him, and so that's where things will get a little dicey.
Look at Rory coming through with the 5 bones.
Rory, appreciate the $5, man. That's very, very nice of you. Appreciate the guys
Rory,
that are donating.
if Tarek sends me my cut of this, you know where I'm going to spend it, buddy. You know where that money's going immediately.
Del Taco.
No.
Oh.
No. Brock knows too.
I don't know.
It's going to, and now coming to the stage. Give it up for Vicious.
Stop.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, Gabriel Duarte with a question: is D1 more competitive, a more competitive bracket than the Open?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna tweak the verbiage. I don't think it's more competitive. No, it is more unpredictable. So that's what makes look. It's like D2. Are the Division II football teams better than the Division I football teams? The answer is no. But is it more unpredictable because there's more parity? Yes. Yeah. Does that make it more competitive? I don't think so. But it certainly makes it more, I don't know who's going to win. So it's more even, I'd say. Division I's got some really good fun teams and really, really, Rory says that he knows where the money's going to go.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah, and Rory, since you do know, we're about $1,495 short.
Oh my god! You guys are sick.
He'll know what I mean by that. Anyways, Tarek, where are you going to be? When does all this tip off?
So the playoffs start Wednesday night.
But
I'm on Isla duty that night, so I will not be able to go to a game on Wednesday night. That's okay. I'll be able to watch like multiple games at once here from home, which is never a bad first round approach because there's so many scores.
Yeah.
Someone gets like, there could be a crazy buzzer beater on NFHS. I could clip that and make a headline out of it real quick right here with my dual screens. So not a horrible place to be. Friday is where I gotta find out, I gotta look at it. If Friday is the Crespi Corona Del Mar game, that's where I might go. This Corona Del Mar team is interesting to me, man. So we'll see how they do. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a fun postseason. I've got a little bit of news that I'll share on the stream. I don't think I'll tweet about it till later. But I am doing analyst work for Spectrum for the championship. So I will be the color guy for the Open Division boys, Open Division girls, and Division I boys section championships at Toyota Arena. And then I'm also going to be the color and analyst for 3 games in Sacramento on Friday and 3 games in Sacramento on Saturday. So between the section finals and the state championships, I will be doing what I believe I just counted as 9 games on live TV for Spectrum. On the broadcast as an analyst. So that will be a lot of fun, and just, if I'm being honest, just another muscle I can flex. I mean that not flex like to show off, but just, look, man, I have skills, man, and I like to show them and showcase them and have fun with that too. So, look, man, do a little bit of writing, do a little YouTube work, do a little TV. Why not do a little color work too?
100%.
So... But yeah, basketball season will be fun. Let's see. I'll be at CDM Crespi game to check out the CDM student section. Yes, that's what I said earlier in the show, man. I think CDM is going to have that place rocking. So, Manny, is that game on Friday night at CDM? Is that correct? Let me know what you think. I always like to pick a team in my coverage area and ride with them. Yeah, well, yeah, Stevie, as you well know, my area is kind of like the whole region, so I just try and find the best game. But he knows that. I think he knows that. And look, the low-hanging fruit out here, like in the valley, I probably won't go to watch Sierra Canyon in pool play. Their pool play games are Corona Del Mar and Crespi, who they've that's the same league. They've already beat them. So it'll probably be a quarterfinal or semifinal game where I'll see Crespi again. So anyway, yeah, appreciate the questions, and guys, be sure to follow me on Twitter and certainly back here on Fattal Factor on Monday nights, because I will talk hoops as the playoffs are going on after we have our guests on and stuff like that. Aram, I actually think we kept this show pretty tight. We did the hour. We did it. So Aram, any last notes for you, or just kind of last little? You want me to throw up your solo?
No.
You got a hot take this week? Okay.
I don't. I just, again, would encourage everybody to hit the like, subscribe.
Man, something is... Hold on, Aram. Hold on. Yeah, I lost him. Guest has joined. Yeah, something.
Tell your friends. Tell people about the show if you can, and help us get more of an audience and more awareness toward the show. And, you know, the bigger the show gets, the better production gets and all that. And we love doing it. So that's all I got.
You like these blue lights? You like these?
I do.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate
It's
it.
very Wolf of Wall Street, Donnie Azoff look, man.
Dude, real quick, Netflix. There's a new movie called Rip, I think. It's do you have Netflix?
Yeah, I do. I have it for my mom.
It's Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, like running it back in some like shoot 'em up movie. I was wondering if maybe you'd seen it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll have to. I'm never on Netflix. Like I said, I have it for my mom. I pay the extra money so she can have it at her house. She loves it. During football season, I definitely never watched. Now it's the off season. I may look to see what's on.
It just got released. Maybe if you're if you want to watch it. Aram took off to see Vicious. Yeah. So again, bro, you like dropped for like half a second, but I brought you back on.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, Manny, is that game? I gotta look. Manny, if that game on Friday night, he hasn't answered. That's okay. Aram, I'm gonna let you go, man. Thank you as always. We got through the stream safe and soundly with a couple little snafus, but hopefully that'll be. I do have a Spectrum technician guy coming tomorrow at 1 o'clock, so hopefully he can actually fix something. But Aram, until then, truly, any last words? When you are finished with whatever you say, I am hitting your intro and I'm saying goodbye.
Enjoy the playoffs, the basketball playoffs, everybody.
Tarek, bro, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
Okay. See, now you guys know. See the lighting? See the ring light there? Kind of gives, that's why, see? So you guys can see in the reflection. It's the real production going on here. Guys, thanks for watching. We got through it. I was having major internet issues today, and somehow we got through the stream. I'm talking like internet dropping, like modem going red, mesh system going red, like horrible. Tweets not loading, pages not loading. It was bedlam here in Chatsworth. But we made it through. Thank you to Coach Jaime Ortiz from San Clemente High School. He joined the show. Awesome stories on Sam Darnold. Hey, man, look, I know Coach Ortiz did a lot of interviews. I didn't really necessarily ask him if he did any interviews after the Super Bowl. I think he did a lot leading up to the Super Bowl talking about Sam Darnold, but I don't know if he did any after. So this might have been the first show to get Coach Ortiz on after Sam Darnold won the Super Bowl. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Nevertheless, we want to thank Coach Ortiz for coming on. I'm seeing on Twitter there's this basketball brawl. My gosh, man, it's like never ending. Is this another one? Fight night in the NBA. Oh, this is another brawl that went on. So I believe the first brawl was Hornets Pistons, and this one's, what is this, Hawks T-Wolves? Unbelievable, man. Might have to break it down. Guys, thanks so much for joining. We will see you next Monday. I will give a little tease for those that are still here. There are a few, about 25. I'm trying to get Rod Sherman on the show. So I think Rod Sherman, he's been texting with me. It was his birthday tonight, and he couldn't come onto the show. But I believe he wants to get onto the show and talk about what happened at Olu, man. So if you have any interest next Monday night, hop on, because I believe Rod Sherman will join the show. Ladies and gentlemen, you know the drill. Take the job seriously, but don't take yourself too seriously. Have a good night.